Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Friday, February the 14th, 2024. Some folks out there are celebrating with their Valentine. I hope you all are having fun. Listen, I want to talk about tomorrow first, and then you're going to know why the smile is on my face. With look, anyway, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 7 p.m. Central time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. We are going live on YouTube, live streaming on YouTube, comment corner. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to talk about what we liked, what we don't like, where we think we should go, all of that good stuff. We'll even talk about Thursday's episode and Friday's episode on Comment Corner. So I'm looking so forward to that. I love it when I get to truly respond to you in real time. So that's going to be fun. But now this is why I have such a smile on my face. Mavis is fine. The dog did not get hurt. I'm telling you, had they wrote that dog got hurt, I don't know what. Look, we're not going to speculate what I would have done. I'm okay with Elaine getting hurt, and she didn't get hurt like hit by the car or anything, but she did save her dog and probably the impact because she probably did hit the ground. Come on now, she's not young, so she's kind of messed up her neck. She's in stiffness and pain, but every she's okay. Well, she'll heal. The dog is fine. Sasha had the dog at GH. Now, what's interesting to me is Elaine didn't ask for like her purse, but we don't know. They didn't go into detail as to, did an ambulance take Elaine to GH, um, or what? But Sasha took care of the dog, and when Elaine came out, she was like, "Oh, thank you so much for taking care of Mavis." And Sasha said, "Mavis is fine. Mavis is okay." And she's like, "I don't know what I would have done had you not been there." And Elaine is saying, that car came speeding out of nowhere. I barely escaped, with my life and Mavis's life, right? So Sasha's like, man, I know. So Isaiah ends up holding the dog at some point, and um Elaine needed to go and get her prescription. So I guess Sasha gave Isaiah the dog. I don't know how Isaiah ended up holding the dog, right? And so Mavis comes back. I mean, Elaine comes back, and she's saying, Sasha, she's stiff, she's sore, and she goes, I don't know how I'm gonna, take care of Mavis because Mavis has to be walked 4 times a day, and right now I'm in pain. My body's aching all over, and so Sasha says, well, first when she goes, well, Mavis is fine. She goes, nope, Mavis may look fine. I know Mavis deep down she's traumatized, and Sasha kind of looks at her like, okay. She don't look traumatized to me, but okay. But anyway, when she comes back and Isaiah's holding the dog, she goes up to Mavis. Elaine does, and she goes, Mavis, and Mavis licks her on the lips, and Isaiah's like, woo, like, woo, okay, we close, right? We close with your dog. So that was funny to me. But anyway, Sasha goes, I can help you take care of Mavis. And Elaine says, you would do that? And Sasha says, absolutely. It's the least I'd be glad to. Right? And so she goes, well, Sasha, because Sasha goes, Mavis is comfortable with me. And Elaine says, you two have bonded. And so she says, it's settled. She says, I can even take you home from the hospital. And so Elaine says, Sasha, we need to come clean with each other. And Sasha looks at her and she looks at Sasha. She goes, there needs to be no lies between us. And Sasha's like, of course. So she says, I did not accidentally bump into you today. I'm a private investigator, and someone has hired me to investigate you. And so she says, wait, me? Why? She says, and she goes, and who? Even though she saw Martin Gray's name in Elaine's phone number, she goes, I cannot divulge my client's private information. What I want to tell you is watch your back because somebody is looking into you. And so Sasha says, thank you so much for telling me that. Right? Thank you for telling me that. Look at here's my daughter's calling me, y'all. Hang on. So now Sasha, look, it's either one or two things. Either Elaine's on to Sasha, knows she took the dog off the leash, you know, and is trying to truly gain her trust by telling her this bit of truth, right? Or Elaine really is grateful that, you know, someone took care of her dog during this, you know what I'm saying. So either way, it's inconsequential. Sasha knew who she was and knows who she is. She ain't about to divulge anything. Now, where is Elaine's purse? I don't know. I mean, we don't know how she got there. Did they put in the ambulance with her? Did Sasha bring her purse? Because Sasha had the dog. I don't know. And we don't know what the information Sasha got out the diary or what did she do. My gut is she probably changed the due date of her baby. She probably read the information Elaine had been digging up because it's all there. What she dug up on Michael, which came up with nothing. What she dug up on Sasha, oh, well, right? Everybody, Sasha's history is public knowledge with the drug abuse and, you know, the mental instability from losing her. It's all out there. But we shall see. And I know Sasha will probably talk about it maybe to Jason. Um, we'll see. And then we'll get to hear more. But I just rested easy as soon as I saw that cute little button nose in the top corner there. Okay, so now let's go on to the rest of the story as to what happened. There's a big meeting at Deception. Lulu's supposed to be there, but Lulu decides she's going to Charlie's because you know Lulu ain't on no time frame. She don't have to be nowhere on time. So Brooklyn comes into Maxie's office and she says, is Lulu here? And Maxie's like, no, Lulu's not here yet. She goes, Brooklyn says, no. Lulu is late yet again, Maxie. Lucy's on her way up to this meeting. Natalia's right outside there, making a phone call. Lulu, nowhere to be found. So Maxie looks at her and she goes, and you know what? She goes, well, I mean, you know, sometimes it's hard to keep schedule straight. You know, she's still trying to get the hang of things. And so BLQ, and I probably called BLQ Lulu a minute ago. I meant BLQ because I'm thinking of Lulu because Lulu's late. But anyway, BLQ tells Maxie, how many times are you going to make excuses for her, Maxie? And Maxie looked at her. She goes, you know what, Brooklyn? She is your assistant. You talk to her about being late. And you want to know what I would say to Maxie? No, we ain't going down like that. You wanted her hired. even though Tracy hired her. But you even entertain this, Maxie, right? And that's the problem. Is Tracy hired Lulu, so Lulu feels she has no accountability. And that's a big no. So anyway, she's talking to Christina. She's apologizing, you know, for or giving her condolences for what happened to Sam and let her know I feel somewhat guilty if it hadn't been for me and blah blah blah. And Christina was very she goes, "No." She goes, "My sister was doing a good thing, and that's how Sam is. She would do good things for other people. If it's something she believed in." She says, "What happened to my sister is two separate things. Her doing the liver donation for you and what happened to her in that hospital, they are not connected." And Lulu looked, she goes, so no, you have nothing to feel guilty for. So she was just saying, everywhere I turn, I'm seeing the effects of the loss of your sister. The impact she had, and she, on Rocco's life, Scout's life, Dante's life, everybody's life. She goes, I would love to hear more about Sam with what I've missed, right? And so Christina's like, really? Because I don't mind telling you. I don't want it to be too painful for you though, Lulu, because she's like, Sam and Dante's love story was in my one of my opinions one of the great love stories. And as she said that, I thought, well, are we rewriting history? Sam and Dante, to me, did not have a great love story. They were actually a tad bit boring. And Sam forever wanted, now she want Dante to quit the force. I mean, it was an okay love story to me. They did a great job blending the family and raising the kids together, you know. But unfortunately, they really didn't give the character of Sam that big a story for us to really be engaged with her on General Hospital the last, what, 4 years? 3, 4 years easy. So if it was an epic love story, it really didn't play out on GH because we didn't see them that much. We might see them at the end of the day sitting on the couch talking about something. We might occasionally once a month see them in the bed talking about something, but that was pretty much it. Okay. So anyway, then she gets a text message, Lulu does. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I'm late for a meeting." Chick, you were late from for a meeting when you pulled into Charlie's parking lot. That's when you were late for the meeting. And you knew it. You knew you had someplace to be, but you wanted to go there. So you did. So anyway, Lucy gets there. Natalia's already in the room. Brooklyn's there pissed off. And now Lulu comes rushing in. Oh, oh, and Brooklyn's just looking at her. Sorry I'm late. And Lucy goes, I have someone I want you all to meet. No, she doesn't. Lucy's in there. Sidwell just walks in. He knocks, hey, hi, excuse me. I hope I'm not interrupting. And everybody looks at him. And Natalia looks at him. And he goes, I just wanted to pop in. And Lucy's like, oh, no, no, you're not interrupting anything. Just a perfect timing. Jen Sidwell, I want you to meet. She was getting ready to introduce, she may have even got to introduce Brooklyn. And Lulu's like, wait a minute. Jen Sidwell. And Sidwell looks at her. He goes, yes. Have you heard my name before? And she goes, yes. You're the one who kidnapped my brother or held my brother captive and tried to kill him in Somalia. And he goes, well, no, look, it's like I told. He goes, and you are? She goes, Lulu Spencer, lucky sister. And he goes, well, as I told your mother, the mayor, there are always two sides to a story, and you've only heard one. And Natalia's just like, mm-hmm. And so Lucy goes, oh, you're right. You're 100% right. There are two sides to a story. And she's looking at Lulu, right? And so for some reason, when the camera panned the room again, Natalia was out the room. She was gone. And I'm like, when did she leave? And what window did she scale out of? Because this is a simple office. Last I knew, there was only one entrance and exit to that office. And Lucy was by the door. Sidwell is where he is. How did Natalia get out that office, everybody? Did anybody else notice that? I thought she was hiding around the corner because there's a little indention to the right in that office, right? I thought maybe that's where she was standing because she didn't want, you know, Sidwell to, he'll say something like, well, who's this lovely lady over here? Didn't even want to be around him. But no, somehow she shimmied out of there because he goes, listen, my apologies. This is obviously not a good time. You're, I will take my leave so you can have your meeting. And Lucy was saying, no, no, this is a fine, okay time. Lulu Spencer is not an important person in this company. She is an assistant only. Her opinions don't matter. Whoa. She goes, the most important opinion that matters is my beautiful partner, Maxie Jones. Or is she still Jones? Yeah, Maxie Jones. And I'm thinking, well, actually, the most important person is really Brooklyn Quartermain because they have the majority of the stock. But whatever, Brooklyn is still just whatever. So Maxie says, you know, and I also want to hear more about, you know, what's happened, the situation with Lucky and so Jen says, well, you know what? I'm gonna take my leave and I will looks at Lucy, talk to you another time. So he leaves. And Lucy says, what do you think you were doing? Talking to Lulu. And Brooklyn is looking up at Lulu. And Maxie's looking at Lulu, but still, Maxie says, look, before we let this man invest in this company, we need to know more about him, right? And Lucy says, no, I have looked at his financials. I'm the one who sold him. I know how much money he has and what he could put a sizable investment into deception. And Maxie said, like I said, we got to know more about him. And so Lucy says, well, look, I know about him and he is fine. And she's grabbing her purse. And I'm getting ready to go and catch him and let him know that, no, look, we still want him to possibly invest in our company. And Maxie's looking because see, Lucy is the only one talking to Sidwell about this. It has not been a consensus of the company, and Tracy hasn't heard nothing about it, right? So no, Lucy. You don't just get to have any old body putting money in. And isn't that so interesting how Sidwell is trying to make his rounds into Port Charles and having his hand into every cookie jar there? That's what's interesting to me. I'm like, okay, now he wants a piece of deception. See, Sonny's a silent partner, but does he know that? He seems to do, because he even told Maxie, called Maxie by her full name, kind of letting her know that, yeah, I know who you are, right? So, mm-mm, no, that's not going to work. And that will be a big red flag to me, to let this man that has been in Port Charles this long, now we gonna make him a major investor. Nope, not at all. Okay, so now we have, let me see, Sonny goes to see Ava, and he tells her, look, for Avery's sake, I'm here to offer you a settlement. You either take it or lose in court. And Rick says, well, that's not gonna happen, you know he goes, she's not gonna lose in court. And he goes, ain't nobody talking to you, Rick. you know. And so he tells her, look, this can be ugly. You have a big drawn out custody battle. He says, and it's going to affect our daughter Avery. And so Rick says, he just doesn't want Christina to get put on the stand, right? And so he goes, look, Ava, there are going to be so many court appointed, he didn't say social workers, maybe he did, but court appointed officials questioning Avery multiple times about living with you, living with me. Avery should not have to go through that. And you're right, I absolutely don't want my daughter Christina on the stand again after everything she's gone through here recently. But we're talking about Avery. He says, Ava, bottom line, we have been fighting for years. I know you love Avery. And she goes, of course I love Avery. I love her with all my heart. And he goes, and Avery loves you. The other night she asked me, when were we going to stop being mad at each other so that we could be in the same room? And she looked, because she misses you. And Ava's like, and he goes, and what did you tell her? He goes, I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't say nothing. I didn't know what to tell her. But I'm telling you, we can end this right now. So Rick says, no, you know what, Ava? Show him the door. No. Ava don't want to hear nothing you have to say. Ava, and so Ava turns to Rick. She goes, Rick, actually, I do want to hear what Sonny has to say. She's looking at him like, shut up, right? He goes, Ava, Rick only wants to come at me on the stand because he feel he got something to prove. He wants to just attack me on the stand. He thinks he can take me down. Oh, I know. I don't think. I know. And so he looks at Rick and he looks at Ava. He goes, but you want to know what? As hard as Rick is going to try to come at me, Diane is going to come at you even harder. And Ava just looks. And so Rick says, don't you try to intimidate my client. I said, shut up, Rick. You just threatening Sonny and all this stuff, but don't you try to intimidate my client. And he goes, Ava, I'm giving you this offer only once. The offer is we go back to our original custody agreement. And she looked at him and she goes, uh, our original custody agreement. She says, look at how you have trampled on that, Sonny. Yes, we actually have a custody agreement in place right now, and you are denying me to see my daughter. So what's to say you're not going to do it again? He goes, because I'm ready for this to end. He goes, our original custody agreement, 60-40. Like Avery would be with him 60%, Ava 40, which is probably what the agreement was, because Avery was with him more than he was with her. She was with her. And so she goes, nope, that's not good enough now. Mm-mm. 50-50. And so Rick goes, 50-50. You could do much better than that in court, Ava. And so she goes, Sonny goes, okay, done. 50-50. And Ava looked at him. She says, okay, good. He goes, I'll go and have Diane draw up the paperwork right now. So he turns and he walks away. And, walks out the door. And Rick says, how could you do that? No, he told Sonny, she has an excellent case and I'm gonna win it for her. And he goes, no, you're not. you know. And so Ava says, he says, I could have won. You could have gotten full custody of Avery. And Ava looked at Rick's, now Sonny's gone. She said, you don't know that, Rick. And he looked at her like, you doubt my ego. She goes, you don't know that. And I made this decision for Avery. I don't want her questioned and being put in the middle of this custody hearing. I don't want my daughter going through that at all. And she says, and believe it or not, Rick, I don't want you to put shred Christina, put shred Christina on the stand again. I feel like she has been put through enough. And Rick looked at her and he goes, well, Ava Jerome, people don't know that you actually have a soft side. And she just looked at him. She says, no, I will make the right choices and the right decisions for Avery. And this is the right decision for her. So he's like, fine, he accepted it. Oh, whatever. Okay, okay. So he got a text message probably from Diane. And he says, all right, I'm going to go to the office. Oh, because she says, and I want my daughter now, not whenever months down the road when this trial is over. This way I get to see my daughter now. And so he says, okay, I'm getting ready to go get the paperwork from my office that Diane is sending over. And so she goes, do you have to leave so soon? And he's like, looking at her like, huh? He says, well, I'm sure it'll take Diane a few more minutes to finish up the paperwork and get it to my office. Of course, he drops his briefcase and they start making out. But Sonny meant what he said, and Diane was like, well, come on. Diane already knew what he was going to do, so she probably had the paperwork already ready. This elusive Diane that we don't ever see. I mean, Diane Miller, she's still alive? I guess so, right? So Sonny goes to Charlie's, and Christina's happy to see him, and he's telling her, oh, he loves what she's done with the place. And she goes, I knew you would, Dad, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you know what? I have something I need to tell you about Avery's, the custody case over Avery. And she goes, I just want you to know, Dad, I am ready to testify on that stand. And so he goes, you know, that's just it, Christina. Ava and I have come to an agreement. He goes, you won't be questioned on the stand. You won't be called, as a witness. She goes, and Avery won't be questioned, by anybody. I settled. It's done. And she goes, okay, okay. So that means Ava has something on you because he go he goes, she's making you do this. He says, when have you ever known Ava Jerome to be able to make me do anything, Christina? Especially where Avery's concerned. And so she walked behind the bar. She goes, well, then okay, I guess I've just never seen my father back down. She was actually trying to like goad him, get his pride in the way. And so he walked over to the bar and he put his hand on the bar and he goes, Christina, look, you may not understand why I'm doing it right now, but hopefully someday you will understand. And he's like, now he's touching her hand. He says, but I'm doing what's best for both of my daughters. And that's the way it's going to be. He goes, I know you don't agree with my decision. That's fine. But it is my decision. And he turns and he walks away. So Christina picks up her phone and there she is looking at the picture where it has Ava's hand on her back. See, this is also telling you how delusional Christina is. She was there. She knows Ava did not push her out that window. She knows she tripped out of that over that duffel bag. She knows that. But yet she still wants to blame Ava when she was the one that went to Ava's apartment. I mean, her hotel room. Okay, Christina, whatever. So that was all of that. Oh, and Molly and Cody, they still freezing their little buns off, and he's talking to her. She let it a little bit in. She had gotten Sam's autopsy report, and she wasn't gonna take it. She was gonna read it. My whole thing is, girl, you should have been taking pictures on your cell phone. Snap, read it in your leisure. But anyway, um, and she just thought if she had a clue, maybe the autopsy could give her some kind of clue as to who murdered, her sister. So, anyway, they were talking, and finally Cody comes up with, wait a minute, wait a minute. And he starts unbuckling his pants, and she's like, what are you doing? And he says, I'm taking off my pants. And she goes, wait, what? Why? He goes, look, I work outside. I'm wearing long johns. I work with horses, right? So she goes, still, but why? And he goes, because these jeans are heavy. They're heavier than my shirt would be. Plus, I need my shirt, He says, and he tied the jeans, in a knot to make them even more dense. And he went over to the side of the building and he saw there where he goes, good, there's people down there. And he dropped them off. Now, Lucky and Isaiah were out, not Lucky. Lucas and Isaiah were outside talking. They were talking about he was holding a dog, made the Mavis case, and then Lucas was talking about, yeah, the guy that owned Spoon Island had a tick in his arm that he had dug out, and I tended to that. And he goes, wait, the guy that owns Spoon Island, he goes, was your patient's name Jen Sidwell? And Lucas says, yeah, that's him. He goes, seems like you know him. He says, I absolutely do know him. He says, well, can you give me some insight on him? He says, ask your cousin Lucky about Jen Sidwell. I feel it should come from him. So he goes, okay. And then that's when they saw the jeans hit the ground, right? And Lucas is like, what is that? And Isaiah says, I think somebody's trying to, it's a cry for help. And then they're looking up the side of GH, and there's Molly and Cody saying, help us, help us. So they go running up, they get up to the roof and they open the door, and Molly and Cody are like, don't let that door close. So they save them, they get them out of there. And Molly says, I never thought I would say this to you, but thank you, Cody. That was good thinking, right? And so, Cody's trying to rush and get his frozen behind inside. So anyway, that's how they got off of the roof. Now, last but not least, I'm going to talk about, oh, and shoot, I didn't even upload it. Let me upload this. My goodness, how did I miss uploading that? The conversation between, come on now, it's taking a minute to attach the file. The conversation between Alexis and Jason. Alexis goes to the PCPD and she tells them she's Jason's attorney, right? So she walks in the room and Jason sees her. And Jason is like, okay, where's Diane? Right? And Alexis says, I lied. I needed to speak to you. So she's telling him, she goes, are you certain it's Cyrus Renault who murdered my daughter? And he goes, pretty much. She says, do you have any idea why he would take my, my daughter? And she said, the woman you once loved. Why would he do this? And Jason said, I don't know. And so she's looking at him. She says, okay, I bet you want to kill him, don't you? And Jason just looked at him. Oh, because wait, before they got into that, she goes, talked about Danny going after Cyrus. And Jason says, look, he goes, and from what I understand, you threatened him publicly. Jason says, look, let me tell you something. Yes, I did threaten him publicly because Cyrus Renault would think nothing of hurting Danny. And Alexis is like, yeah, I know. He said, so I had to make sure that Cyrus Renault knew that if he ever came near my son, I'm going to end him. Oh, he had to know that. And he said, because I need him not to try to target my son while the PCPD is trying to build a case against him. He says, oh, I'm going to protect Danny. And so Alexis is like, okay, okay. So then she went on into, why would he want to do that to Sam? Did they even really have words with each other? I mean, did they even know each other, right? And so she goes, you want to kill Cyrus, don't you? And Jason looked at her and he goes, yeah. And she leaned in, she said, I want to kill him too. I want to be the one, Jason. I want to be the one to pull the trigger. And I want my face to be the last face he sees before he leaves this earth. And I said, ooh, you have killed before, Alexis. Ooh, shoot, right? And Jason looked at her and he goes, Alexis, Alexis, that is not who you are. And she looked at him, she goes, but that's who you are. So I need you to take care of it. She says, and if I had a gun, I'd give it to you. She said, no, she said, like something like, I would want to give it to you. She said, but Jason, I couldn't. And he's looking at her like, what? She goes, if you kill Cyrus Renault, Danny is going to have to carry that around with him for the rest of his life. And Jason says, I would never have Danny involved in it. She said, oh, I know you wouldn't directly. She said, but Danny would know that you killed him. She says, and that is something that he should not know. He should not walk around with knowing that his father killed the person that killed his mother. She goes, that would change him. You know? And so Jason looked, she goes, we got to think about what Sam would want here, Jason. Sam wants Danny to have a life full of possibilities. For Danny to be able to choose what he wants to be in this life. We don't need this with carrying around the weight of that knowledge to influence the rest of Danny's life. And Jason's eyes were like filled with tears. And I'm like, man, Steve Burton's doing a good job with emotions because he really hadn't had to do his whole career show too many emotions, right? Stone cold, okay? And his eyes were teary. And she says, we have to put Danny first. Can you do that? Right? Jason just looks at her and he shakes his head. Yeah. He's thinking, until that son of a gun step out of line, then I'm taking him out. But right, you know what? I got you. I know what you're saying, Alexis. I'm with you. I'm with you. But I'm gonna look. I'm gonna make it look like I accident. Accident. I'll make sure somebody else do it. And I'm standing. I'm with my son. You know, I didn't kill him. We were at a ball game, son. Come on now. One of Cyrus's many other enemies, because he killed a whole bunch of folks. But anyway, that was a good scene. She actually got through to him. She goes, let the PCPD handle it. So Anna's probably going to let him out because he's going to agree that he's not going to touch Cyrus, that he's going to let her handle it. So she'll probably let him out, realistically, because that's all she wanted. She just wanted him to say he wasn't going to touch Cyrus. He was going to leave him alone. And Jason wouldn't say that to her. He said, I will protect my son, you know? So anyway, everybody, that was the show today. We got some great stuff to talk about tomorrow at the live YouTube live event. So make sure you set your timers, your alarms on your cell phones. Make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. That way you're going to be notified that I'm going to go live. You're going to be notified GH Daily Recaps is live now, so you can hop on. Okay, so I will see you all tomorrow night.